What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Change, and this is my top 10 Vancouver Canucks Captains Rankings video. Oh, Captain, my Captain. We're gonna go through that. I talked a little bit about it in our live stream yesterday and kind of teased it, and here we go. So I went through all of the Canucks captains. I managed to find a list, and I went through them all. And I'll be honest, much like most top 10 rankings, this was not easy to do. So, as far as criteria goes, I'm not basing this off of stats or anything in particular. This is just my personal opinion. And this is just my personal take. These are my personal top 10 rankings. These aren't any official rankings. These are just my own personal top 10 rankings. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. I'm going to throw this up real quick. So we're going to go over top 10 captains of the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, there's some people missing in that photo, in particular Quinn Hughes, but this picture was taken before Quinn Hughes was named captain. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Starting off with number 10. So number 10, Doug Lidster. He was captain for one season for the Vancouver Canucks. I have him at number 10 as I actually wasn't around. I wasn't born yet when Lidster was captain, but I just threw him into number 10, mainly because I'm not putting Mark Messier in my top 10. Like, there's no chance whatsoever that I'm going to put Mark Messier in my top 10 ranking. So I just simply threw Doug Lidster in there so I didn't have to put Messier. Number 10 is Doug Lidster. Number 9, Kevin McCarthy. Once again, similar to Doug Lidster, I simply put Kevin McCarthy in there so I wouldn't be forced to put Mark Messier in my top 10 rankings. Although there's a reason he's number 9 and not number 10, because he was captain for 3 seasons for the Canucks. Much like Doug Lidster, I wasn't born when he was the captain, so I didn't really see him play at all. This was, before I was, born. So I have Kevin McCarthy at number 9. And then number 8, Orland Kurtenbach. 4 seasons as captain. Nice little nugget. He was the first ever Canucks captain in Canucks history. I have Orland Kurtenbach at number 8. I have him ranked higher than McCarthy and Lidster simply because I know his name. I know, much like the other two, I wasn't alive when he was the captain, but I felt as though him being the first ever Canucks captain earned him the spot at number 8 and above both McCarthy and Lidster. And yeah, that is number 8. So Orland Kurtenbach is number 8 for me. Moving on to number 7. Now, this was difficult. Originally, I had this person at number 6, and while I was getting ready to record this, I ended up switching him with number 6. No particular reason. I just was going back and forth on it, and I decided to go with this person at number 7. And honestly, if we weren't basing this off of, we aren't really basing this off of much of a criteria, but I thought if I had put this one at number 6, some people might disagree with that and might raise questions on it, especially if I were to put this person ahead of who's at number 6. So I just decided, screw it, I'm just going to put him at number 7. But number 7 is Roberto Luongo. 2 seasons as captain, the first Canuck goalie captain. Now, like I said, I originally had him at number 6, and there's a reason for that. I absolutely love Roberto Luongo. He is, to this day, my all-time favorite Canuck. I've mentioned in previous videos, I mentioned on the live stream, I believe may or may not have been with Canuck Canucks while I was on a live stream with him as a guest. But I was a goalie when I played hockey when I was younger. So I gravitated towards goalies in the NHL, and in particular, Roberto Luongo when he was a Canuck. Like I said, he's still my all-time favorite Canuck to this day. I have several Luongo jerseys, and I was over the moon when the Canucks acquired him from Florida. And obviously, I was really upset when he was traded, as I wanted him to retire as a Canuck. I'm also probably one of the few who still think they should retire Luongo's jersey in the rafters. Like, his jersey should be in the rafters. He, in my opinion, he's the best Canucks goaltender of all time. Like, no disrespect to Kirk McLean or all the other great goaltenders that the Canucks have had over the years. In my opinion, Roberto Luongo is the greatest Canucks goalie ever. So I have him at number 7. Nice little fun fact. When Luongo was inducted into the Ring of Honor, I was actually at that game. I made it, I went out of my way to make sure that I went to that game because Luongo means so much to me as a Canucks fan, and I was such a huge fan of his. I was like, I have to go to this game. I did. I went and actually picked up another Luongo jersey with the Luongo patch on it. And I talked about it in a previous video when I did my top 10 Canuck jersey rankings, where how I, was in the Canuck store, walking around. It was packed, and I saw the jersey with the patch on it, and I just grabbed it because I wanted to get out of, I wanted to get out of the Canuck store and out of the big crowd, and I ended up grabbing one size too big, but it's not that big of a deal. I can always just have a jacket on underneath. And hey, if I ever end up, lacing up the skates and getting back on the ice and playing some goalie, I got a jersey to wear because it'll fit over my shoulder pads. So, long story short, Roberto Luongo comes in at number 7 for me. And the person who I switched around with him is none other than the Steamer, Stan Smyl. 8 seasons as captain for the Canucks. I have Smyl at number 6 just because of the fact that he spent 8 seasons as captain for the Canucks, which is the most out of anyone who's ever won the C. He was captain just prior to me being born in the early 90s, and he's just an icon for the Vancouver Canucks. And I just had to put him at 6. So yeah, and then number 5, coming in at number 5 is Bo Horvat. Now this might be a little controversial, if you want to say. Some people might switch out Stan Smyl and Bo Horvat. Some people might have Bo at 6. Some people might have Stan Smyl at 5. But I have Bo at 5. He spent 4 seasons as the captain of the Canucks. And this, again, goes back to, I wasn't around much I wasn't around when Stan Smyl was captain. So I obviously gravitate towards Bo, and I got to really experience Bo as the captain. And there's some other factors too. Bo was drafted by the Canucks. He was groomed by the Canucks. And then he went on to become captain. And that, to me, means a lot, And he grew and matured with the Canucks to become captain. He became a leader. As captain, some might say, he didn't really fight for his players, or he was I don't want to say soft, but he was soft-spoken, so to speak. Like he didn't, he wasn't like JT Miller where he, you know, put his foot down when it came to the media. He was very low-key and tried not to stir the pot and always did his best to say the right thing. But Bo Horvat is number 5 on my list. Moving down to number 4, Quinn Hughes. I got Quinn Hughes at number 4. This is his second season as captain. He's already been captain for one season, which was last year. And then this season is his second season. So I got 2+ seasons as captain. And of course, he's the current captain. I have Quinn Hughes at number 4. And this high on my rankings simply because he's Quinn Hughes. He's so mature for his age. Keep in mind, Quinn's only, 25, 26? And he's mature beyond his years. And he's shown leadership as captain. Sure, he's similar to Bo, where he's kind of soft-spoken and doesn't really, he's not the talker like JT Miller was or some other players. But he was most certainly the right choice to be captain when they were looking for someone to replace Bo as a captain. You honestly, in my opinion, you couldn't have picked anyone better than Quinn Hughes. And I, obviously hope Quinn Hughes is the captain of this team for years to come. He's one of the best defensemen in the league. He's by far the best defenseman that this team has ever had. And by the end of his career, he's going to hold a lot of records for the Canucks. So I have Quinn Hughes coming in at number 4. Moving on to number 3. Marcus Naslund. 7 seasons as captain. And this one really hits home for me, much like the Luongo one. As for those of you that do not know, I really started watching the Canucks in the mid to late 90s when I was old enough to, watch TV and kind of understand hockey. And this was also right around the time when I started playing hockey too. So I was a really big Marcus Naslund guy. I absolutely loved Nazi. And this is, again, where I really became a Canucks fan was during the time that Naslund was captain. And obviously, those years with the West Coast Express, Brendan Morrison and Todd Bertuzzi, that was an incredible line. And I thought Naslund was a great leader for this team. And as it shows there, he was captain for 7 seasons, which had been the most since Stan Smyl. And yeah, Marcus Naslund was a great captain. There's a reason why his number is retired at Rogers Arena, because he made such an impact as not only the captain of the Vancouver Canucks, but just as a player in general. So I have Marcus Naslund coming in at number 3. Number 2, Henrik Sedin. 8 seasons as captain, which is a tie for most as captain, along with Stan Smyl. And what can you say about Henrik Sedin that people haven't said already? Obviously, as I keep mentioning, I really started watching the Canucks in the 90s. And of course, Henrik Sedin and his brother Daniel drafted by the Canucks in 99. And just the way that Brian Burke maneuvered and did what he did to make sure that he drafted both of them, like making trades the day of the draft in order to get that, second and third picks in the draft so he could draft both of them, was huge for not just the Henrik and Daniel, but for the organization as a whole. It was a huge move. It was a huge risk. I I don't have the exact trade in front of me, but the fact that Brian Burke went out of his way to ensure that we got both Henrik and Daniel, and then seeing what they became, they, much like Bo, were homegrown. Um, they went through, their younger years, learned from a lot of veterans that were on that team. And then Henrik ended up, obviously Luongo ended up giving up the captaincy to Henrik because, one, I believe it was obviously putting a lot of pressure on Luongo being the captain and then being a goalie. He wanted to just focus on being the Canucks' number one goaltender, and they ended up giving it to Henrik. And I thought that was a great choice to give it to Henrik, as much like his brother Daniel, Henrik had grown into a leader. He had become a leader on the Canucks. And again, just to see that growth from, when he was first drafted along with his brother to when he became captain. And yeah, so I have Henrik Sedin at number 2. And obviously Henrik Sedin is at the very top of, Canucks goal scorers, Canucks with the most points, most assists. Henrik Sedin is at the top for most of those categories, and that's why I have him at number 2. But moving on to the coup de grace, the grand finale. Who's left? Number 1, Trevor Linden. 6 seasons as captain, and in my opinion, he's Captain Canuck. I think a lot of people's top 10 ranking lists that you'll see, a lot of them probably have Trevor Linden at number 1. And that's because he's Captain Canuck. He's obviously, when he first became captain, that was in the early 90s, so around when I was born. Obviously, he was captain in 94 when the Canucks went to the Stanley Cup final. And everyone remembers that iconic photo of Trevor Linden and Kirk McLean, and there's blood on Linden's jersey. I forget exactly what happened. I believe it was like high stick or something, hugging Kirk McLean, and that photo is iconic. And yeah, so I have Trevor Linden at number 1, and there's so many things you can say about Trevor Linden as captain of the Canucks. Everyone remembers, I mentioned how I absolutely refused to put Mark Messier on this list. If I extended this list to top 20, I wouldn't even put Messier in the top 20 because I absolutely hated Mark Messier. I respect him and what he's done, with the Rangers, with the Oilers, and his stats and his talent, on the ice and what he's given to the game. But I just thought the guy was a huge prick. And I can't believe that we had acquired him. We acquired him for that veteran experience, but making him captain was I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say it. That was a dark day in Canucks history right there, in my opinion. Making Mark Messier the captain, or obviously Trevor Linden had, relinquished the captaincy to Mark Messier. And he did that on his own. He chose to do that. And actually, I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find that to this day, Trevor Linden regrets doing that. That is one regret that Trevor Linden has, is relinquishing the captaincy. And then you can even find also on Google as well, if you Google it, Mark Messier himself has stated he wishes he had not accepted it. looking back on it, he wishes he had not accepted the captaincy. So, in my opinion, and then also there's that whole fiasco with Mike Keenan coming in and then trading away Trevor Linden to, what was it, the Islanders or the Capitals or something like that. Trading him away after they brought in Messier. Again, dark day in Canucks history, in my opinion. But I have Trevor Linden at number 1. And as I mentioned, a lot of different people are probably going to have Trevor Linden as number 1, as probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest Canuck captain in Canucks history. But I'm going to know what your guys' rankings are. So go ahead and comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what your top 10 is. And is it similar to what mine was? Are there a few things that are slightly different? Where would you rank Quinn Hughes on your list? Where would you rank Bo Horvat? Where would you rank Luongo? I know he was, only 2 years as captain, but that was still a pretty big thing. Having a goalie, the first goalie in, I forget how long it was, to have a goalie as your captain. I think that move by, who was it? Nonis, I think. But making that move, like announcing that, I think surprised a lot of people at the time. Most certainly surprised me at the time, but obviously back then, huge Luongo fan, absolutely loved Luongo, so I loved it. Actually, one of my Luongo jerseys that I talked about in my top 10 jersey rankings, I got the C put on the jersey, and actually the place that I got it from, which no longer exists anymore. I forget what it was called exactly, but it was like a sports store that was at, for those of you on the North Shore or in the Lower Mainland, it was at Capilano Mall in North Van, and it was there for a long time. I believe it was Blue Line Sports is where I got the jersey from. And, I told my dad, I want the C on the jersey. And actually Blue Line had to get into contact with the NHL and ask them if it was okay to put the C on the jersey. That's how big of a deal it was. So, and obviously they relented. They said yes. So I have that. Actually, if you see that jersey right there, that's the jersey right there. Or actually, I guess I should go like this because it flips on the camera. So I'm going to go point like this. Yeah, that jersey that's behind my left shoulder, where you can see like a picture next to it, that's the longer jersey that I'm talking about. But that's going to do it for this top 10 rankings. Once again, let me know what your guys' rankings are. Post them in the comment section down below. Are they similar to mine? Are they different? Do you agree with my top 10 rankings? I mean, these are just my own personal rankings, So, also, having done this, I intend on doing, we talked a lot about Luongo and whatnot. I'm going to do a top 10 Canuck goalies ranking. That one's going to be a lot of fun, as we're going to get some names in there that probably not a lot of people, at least nowadays, maybe even remember. I'm going to, I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to Canuck goaltenders because, having been a goaltender myself, I mentioned I gravitated towards goaltenders. So I remember names. Heck, I'll just rattle off a few right now that you guys probably don't even remember, unless there are those of you that are older than me. But, I remember guys like Garth Snow, Bob Essenza, Felix Potvin, Dan Cloutier, Arturs Urbe. Those are names you've probably not heard in years. But yeah, all those are in my head, and so I'm probably going to do that video sooner rather than later while I have those names fresh in my head. Oh, another one. Kevin Weeks is another one. Alex Auld. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to The Line Change, go ahead and subscribe. Stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks and NHL related news and content. You can you can find us on. We have a Discord. Go ahead and join the Discord, and we can talk all things Canucks. We can talk about those names that I just listed off. We can also, hang on, give me 1 second. Sorry, let me just get that off the screen. I just realized I don't have social media because I have the full screen now. So I'm just going to quickly do that. Make a little ticker. Please excuse this right now. There we go. There. So yeah, as you can see, follow us on social media at Line Change Van for Twitter, at The Line Change on Instagram. Search The Line Change on Facebook. You can find our Facebook page. The.line.change.po is our TikTok. And that's going to do it for this video. Oh, shit, sorry. Clicked the wrong button. Let me just quickly do a quick sponsor. See if I can find it. Where'd it go? There we go. Found it. Pull it up. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. There we go. So yeah, we have a online store now, where we're selling T-shirts, mugs, baseball hats, iPhone cases, jackets, hoodies. We are selling men's shirts, women's shirts. We're even selling some baby and kids stuff as well. Right now, we're running a opening week / launch sale that ends on Sunday, April 13th. So get them while you can, while they're on sale. The Line Change podcast.threadless.com. And yeah, we are planning a new tier or another. This is just the first batch of the merchandise. I've already been designing a new logo for an alternate merchandise that is Canuck skate themed. So that's going to be coming real soon. And when we do launch those, we'll do a sale on that as well. But yeah, so yeah, definitely check out the site, see what you guys like. There's plenty of sizes on there for you as well, and you really help out the channel as well. So there's that. Crap. So that's going to do it for this video. Once again, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next video.